Even when I'm not practicing or playing a concert, I hear music in my head. It doesn't stop ever. When I wake up, I hear music. And mainly it's things that I'm practicing or working on. But sometimes, if I'm lucky, I can also hear music, new music coming. And that's mainly the start of a new composition then.
Hello, my name is Eline Perez and you're listening to Are You an Artist? Today, an episode very special with Gwen Cresens, who speaks about the accordion, being an artist or a musician, and the importance of practicing. A fantastic episode in which we are gifted with music extracts from the one I admire, who is also my godfather. And this was a short extract from The Man is Verhuisd from Gwen Cresens. Are you ready?
I am.
To speak?
Yes. Shoot!
So I'm always starting this podcast by reading out a letter I've written for the guest. So, okay. Your letter. Your letter. Dear parents, this podcast is called Are You an Artist? And when I was growing up, as an accordionist, you were the only image of making a living as an artist in the family. Indeed, when I was a child, adults around me praised long studies in order to have a serious job and make a lot of money. So I was told that maybe I could be a doctor or a lawyer. Great choice. I did not see you very often, but seeing you again while training as a dancer, I was rediscovering you as an artist, of course, but also a smart, funny, generous, and curious person. I loved our conversations, and you helped me a lot by putting me in touch with dancers you worked with. I always enjoyed seeing you perform, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on stage again this Saturday. But now is the time for the first question of the podcast. Are you an artist?
Beautiful letter. Thank you. Yes, I think. So I think then we should define what an artist is, which is complicated, and I don't think I'm qualified to define being an artist. But maybe it's between creating art and it's also about craftsmanship. So being able to play an instrument and do it as good as you can and try to achieve perfection in it is not something by definition artistically, I think. But in combination with the content of what I do, it can be artistic.
Who could define this, you think? An artist?
Smart people.
Okay.
People who are not artists and
artists are not smart.
No. I didn't say that. No. I don't know. Sometimes I think that artists or the definition of an artist is too pretentious for what we do. We're obsessed by the form of art that we practice, and we want to do it as good as we can. But does that make us an artist? I don't know. I think it's maybe up to the audience to decide whether I'm an artist or not.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel more like somebody who does a job, but really passionate, and I mean, I couldn't live without it. Maybe that's the difference between somebody who works in a bank or for an insurance company or as a teacher. I don't know. Maybe some people they can stop working and they can forget about their job. I think for us it's more ongoing the whole time in your brain. Even when I'm not practicing or playing a concert, I hear music in my head.
Do you?
So always.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it doesn't stop ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So when you walk in the snow, you would hear music?
Yeah, definitely. When I wake up, I hear music.
Oh, wow.
And mainly it's things that I'm practicing or working on.
Okay.
But sometimes, if I'm lucky, I can also hear new music coming. And that's mainly the start of a new composition then.
That's incredible.
I think because it's an obsession that you work on it so much of your time that it doesn't stop.
And when did it start, you just hearing music? Was it before starting the accordion or?
No, I don't think so. But I started very early. I was 5 or 6 years old when I started with the accordion, so I don't have any active memories of before. But I remember when I started, I immediately got into it. I was able to play something on the instrument, though I never had any lesson before. So it was an immediate connection.
Wow.
With very simple music, of course, children's songs and very easy things, but it was an immediate connection that I remember. But I don't remember hearing music at that age. I don't remember now.
And do you remember why you chose the accordion?
Yes.
Why?
It was, I grew up in Antwerp and it really in the city center next to the cathedral. And there was a man, a street musician playing there every day. And when we walked through the city, we passed him every day almost. And he was playing and it was so inspiring. I thought, wow, it's incredible. It's one guy and he sounds like an orchestra. He can play all by himself. He doesn't need anyone else. And he can just play and everything's there.
Yeah.
And I immediately saw some kind of practical side of it. That could be interesting. Must be nice to play that instrument, and of course the sounds, the repertoire probably he played. Though I don't remember anymore what he did play, but I remember him playing and still see his face, and I hear his sound. But it was very. I was like a magnet. I was standing like, what is this? Wow, this sound, these possibilities, and this. Wow, I saw a lot of opportunities. In even when I saw him the first time, I must have been like 4 or 5 years old.
Wow. But you started with piano, didn't you? No. Okay, I can't.
I started with accordion, but then afterwards I did piano as well.
Okay.
I studied piano till my beginning of my 20s.
Okay.
So then I had to decide really, okay, what do I want to do and where do I want to get better in at? And there are so many good and excellent piano players. I thought like, okay, I never have a chance to compete. For accordion, it was different. There was not so many people playing accordion at that time. And I think it was easier to find my own voice in an accordion than in a piano. Mm-hmm. Also on repertoire, piano, I was really studying classical piano, so Schumann and Chopin and these great composers, but it's all been done, it's all been recorded so many times, so such a great recordings, it's almost impossible to
compete.
Yeah. And for accordion, it was different and it was more personal. It was my first choice also. Uh-huh. So I think I made the good choice to stick on the accordion.
And do you remember what you wanted to do as a child? Did you always want to be a musician or?
Yes. I always wanted to be a musician, but when I was a child, I wanted to be a rock musician.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it was at that time. I'm talking now about the mid '80s, and then it was bands like Bon Jovi and Europe, and was so fascinating. These guys with their long hair, curly hairs, and guitars, and going. It was really fantastic to see. So I thought, that must be so nice to be a rock musician. And then later on, when I was around 14, I discovered classical music. And then I really wanted to be a conductor of an orchestra. I really thought, wow, that must be amazing to be a conductor. So I went to the library, and in the library you could rent the vinyls, the records of operas, famous operas. And one I really listened a lot to was La Traviata by Verdi. And then I also borrowed the score. So you have the orchestral score. It was a huge book, a green huge book. And I was in my bed turning pages and trying to follow the score and conducting the orchestra with the vinyl. Like, wow, I really saw myself as the next Leonard Bernstein. And it was so nice to do. And then I ended up playing the accordion.
Have you ever conducted an orchestra?
No, but it's so difficult. It's such a complicated. You have to really train it, and it's another job. It's another speciality. I would love to do it though one day, but then you really have to be enormously well prepared and know. It's really for the masters. The conductors are really the masters of music.
Mm-hmm. And how was it at school? Did you have I know that now they can organize schools so you can play music a bit more, like in conservatoires in France. How is it for you? Was it something very accessible to say, okay, I want to be an accordionist?
Or I started around the age of 6. I went for the first time to the music school, and then it was the beginning of the official schools, music schools, funded by government. They started with accordion classes in the beginning of the 80s. And I think around that time I started. So it was accessible, yes. Mm-hmm. There was a big class in Antwerp and a great teacher. He's still alive, though. He will be 100 years old this year. And I'm still in contact with him. That's a great teacher. Beautiful. And so he was one of the first ones in Belgium in the beginning of the 80s. And then afterwards, I went to an art school, which combined a regular school with artistic content. Like we had every music, we had instrument, we had second instrument was piano, we had harmony classes, solfège, music history, art history, and all this combined in one school, mm-hmm. which was a great way to prepare for the conservatory afterwards. Mm-hmm. So yes, it's quite accessible. Like these art schools, we have 5 or 6 of them in Belgium. So it's for everyone. It's perfectly accessible. Mm-hmm. And now even more, because in my time it was only classical music and jazz. Now you can do musical, dance, theater. There's so many different ways of following arts lessons in your daily education that it's very accessible. Mm.
And I remember in one of our conversations that we had, you were saying how you need to be very disciplined when you are a musician and to really practice every day. Is that something you always had, or is it something you had to create or learn?
I am now 48 years old. I learned to be disciplined about 8 years ago.
Oh, okay.
I was a lazy student. I didn't like studying. Practicing was like, oh, no. I like playing always. But I was lucky to be part of projects where I could actually, most of the time, I didn't really have to work for it because I was talented enough to. But after a while, it doesn't work anymore. To work on only with your talent. If you want to evolve, you have to practice and you have to invest in your talent. And that's something I understood way too late. Mm-hmm. If I could turn back the clock, I would do that when I was 20 years before.
Yeah. And what made that change?
Well, I think during my studies, the repertoire I had to play, I didn't really like it, actually. I was in classical music. I had a classical training, and the repertoire was not really my thing. I wanted to do more jazz or folk music or world music, Brazilian music, tango. And I did, but I still had to work on these classical things, which gave me the opportunity to gain a lot of technique and souplesse in the fingers and virtuosity. But yeah, the music was not really what I wanted to do. This kind of music was not. I've always loved to play Baroque music like Bach and Scarlatti, but the contemporary music was not my thing. And I think that was not a great motivator to practice. And like I said, 10 years ago, I wanted to do some kind of resets, because I was playing for 20 years professionally with bands and in various combinations. And I thought, okay, I'm 40 years old now. Is this going to be it for the rest of my life? Or do I want to evolve as a human, as a musician, as an artist? Mm-hmm. Who knows? As an artist?
The coming out.
So I thought, okay, I have to do something. So I quit my own band. At that time, I had a tango orchestra for about 20 years. I stopped it, and I really did a reset by creating a program, just me, solo on my accordion. And I started playing in bars and in the small venues, clubs, and small concert halls. Because I thought, when I start alone, I can start with this point of view to build again and to invite other musicians. But I start from myself, not from some repertoire like I did before. And I have to it really starts from the music, from the center of the music. And this was new for me. So it forced me to practice a lot, because I really wanted to be able to play alone, which is way more complicated than playing in a band where you can hide.
Yes, I guess you're much more exposed, right?
Exactly, yeah. That's the whole... But if you're comfortable with this exposure, you have a huge freedom. Mm-hmm. And that's something I had to discover, and I really enjoyed that, which felt like a reward for all the work I did. And like, okay, if you play alone, you take a lot of risk, but you take also all the pleasure. Like, oh, when it goes well, it's really fantastic. And then you have something to build on again. And that's what I did. And I think it was the right choice.
Another extract from Gwen Cresens Quartet live at l'Archiduc.
Unfortunately, then not so much later, COVID came to pay us a visit. Hello. Goodbye. But okay, we're behind that, and we continue this road, and it's really amazing to experience, and to... Now I'm doing it again, actually, because with COVID I was forced we all were forced not to play anymore for an audience. So I chose really to practice and to work on arrangements I didn't have time to finish before, and that was, in that way, it was a really interesting time. It took too long, but it had some advantages.
Mm-hmm. And you've worked quite a lot with dancers.
Yes.
Why are you attracted to?
Dancers don't talk.
I do.
Most dancers don't talk. I think it's really wonderful to look at somebody who is capable of moving with their body in ways that I could never, and it's a lot of times I find it inspiring, and it can even, like, the most traditional way of playing music with dance is probably tango. It's very familiar for me, and there already you see, it's a very intense dance. It's very passionate, but it's also very complicated if you see how fast and what kind of movements they do. But I worked a lot also with contemporary dance, and it's completely different, but also there I find it really inspiring to see how people move, and their movements, they influence me directly when I play. So I can do a certain phrasing in my music, completely following a dancer. And that's really nice, because then you feel it's like playing together with another musician, but it's another art form. It's very complementary. I feel, and also the sound of the feet, and then the breath and everything, our bodies coming together or whatever, or several dancers dancing together, it gives an energy. And that's really, wow, I really love that.
And do you remember the first time you created a composition or something?
Yes, I think I wrote some music already as a child. Not that it was that fancy or so.
Oh no!
It was just some ideas. But the real first, I don't see myself as a composer. Actually, I see myself as a musician who writes music for his own necessity, because I need to write something down. Because a real composer is somebody, for me, is somebody who writes music every day. It's like a real writer. They write every day. To be excellent in your job, you have to do it. I try to practice every day. So that's a different level of writing music. But for me, it works. I don't write music for other people. So I can express myself with my own music, playing it myself. I wouldn't write music for somebody else. And that's what a real composer can do. I think that's a small difference. So to say where was the first composition, it's difficult to say, because sometimes you write some music, you play it a few times, and you think, no, it's not worth it. I'm not going to do it anymore. And sometimes it can evolve and it becomes better. I have some compositions I recorded 3 or 4 times before it was actually in the best form that it could ever be. So sometimes it needs time it's like wine, probably. It gets better when it gets older.
And when you compose, is it like you improvise and then you remember, or do you already have a melody or something that you try to? Okay.
Both, yeah. Sometimes I think it's I have an idea already in my head, and then I write it down, and then I let it. I have a notebook filled with short motifs, just maybe 4 bars of music, and then if I remember it spontaneously, I think, okay, then I want to work on it and make it a composition. Most of the times I don't think it's worth going further on it, and then I just leave it. But I keep it. You never know. Because it can come later.
And another COVID time, you can just check it all out.
Yeah, COVID, come back, please.
When God. The book is too filled.
Yeah, it's a huge book. It's yeah.
And do you have a favorite part of a creative process?
I think I like once you accept that you think you have something worthy and something that you can work on and to evolve, and you like it, then it starts. And then sometimes it's like cooking. Like if you make let's say a spaghetti bolognese, you cook the meat, you cut the vegetables, you add spices, you put tomato sauce in it, and everything comes together. And it's like a dish. Composition is or an arrangement is like for me it's like a dish, and that motivates me during the writing process, because I think, okay, missing part there or there or there. Okay.
Carrots.
Carrots. For instance, it's also a bit like a puzzle. And when it comes together, and in the end, when it all fits, and then you play it for the first time, and like, okay, cool. This is working. Or no, it's not working. And then you continue searching for other solutions, and then till you find the moment. And then the first time you play it for an audience or for somebody close to you, like for my wife or for my children, and then what do they think? That's also important. You never know. Sometimes you play something that you think, wow, is just playful something. It's nothing deep, and they say, oh, that's so nice. Or in the other way around, something you've really been working on for days, and good. Bah, boring.
Oh.
Okay.
And is it easy for you to know when it's finished, when a creation is finished?
It never is, I think. And that's the advantage of writing your own music, that you can always adapt or change things. Sometimes when I play a composition with a piano player, we find new things. And then when the next time I play it, for instance, with a guitar player, I can adapt and use the things I learned with the piano player to play it with the guitar player. So that the composition is actually in constant evolution. But it stops at a certain point. You feel like, okay, I've tried every angle. And often it's when another musician asks you, maybe we could do it like this, or we could try this. Okay, I've tried it. It doesn't work like that for me. Maybe for you, but not for me. I'm sticking to the plan, and now it's finished. But it can take years. Sometimes it's 10, 15 years before you're really like, okay, now I've tried this piece. I've seen every corner of the house now. It's fine.
And now that you've practiced more on your own, how does it feel to go back to playing with other people?
I feel more comfortable and confident.
Okay.
Because I know what I can do alone. It starts there, and everything that comes on top is a gift, is a pleasure, is a joy. It should be. It is not always, but it should be like this. So I play a piece by myself. I made an arrangement or a composition by myself. I play it, and then I think, okay, maybe we should have some drums or bass and drums, guitar, horns, some strings maybe. And then you fantasize. And when it comes together, it can be very powerful.
I was going to ask, do you fancy sometimes to go back to this rock band? No?
No, actually, no. I did play in a rock band for quite a few years.
What was the name of the band?
Well, it was a singer. He was called Arno.
Ah, yes.
And he was a Belgian singer. And he was really the king of rock and roll in Belgium. But we played a lot in France and in Canada and Switzerland. Most of the French-speaking parts we played. And then the nice thing with this band was that we were really a wall of sound. It was a huge energy. And that's something I still haven't found in other kinds of music. And that was a real power. And the nice thing also was that we went playing on all these big festivals, which I would never do again, probably, since I don't play in such a band anymore. And I think I was like 26 or 25 years old when I started with this band. So I did it for 3 years. And then as a young guy, to play on all these festivals was like, wow, what's happening? But even that, you get used to it. And then you play for 50,000 people, and the first time it's like, amazing. The next time you play for 100,000 people, it's like, wow. And then you play again for 60,000 people, it's like, oh, it's a small venue. It's how quickly your perception changes and how quickly you get used to it.
Yeah.
That's really bizarre. But in another way, I think I still prefer playing in smaller venues and clubs and small concert halls. That when it's more, you have more direct contact with the audience.
Mm-hmm. It's a bit more intimate in a way.
Yes. Also, in dynamics, you can play very soft. You can play very loud. If you play on a festival, the dynamics are, I think so, quite limited because it's always on power, and you have to, you have to reach 10,000 or 20,000 people. You have to reach them all. I heard somebody once say that it wasn't a good concert if you're not completely sweated after the concert. And sometimes I can agree with it. Sometimes it's too easy, and you play, and then after the concert you don't even. You have no sweat, and I think, did I really give everything I had? And sometimes you go all the way, but then you can go over the top as well. So.
And you just listened to an extract from Oblivion, improvisation. But maybe sometimes you just don't sweat because it's very cold.
Exactly. Thank you, Eline.
And what do you like the most in your work?
Oh, the music, of course. That comes first. The people, the social contact with your co-workers or your colleagues, or sometimes become friends. The traveling is something I really enjoy.
What do you like with the traveling?
Well, that you get in places and you are there to work. You're not a tourist. And that's a different way of traveling than when you arrive somewhere and you go to a hotel and then you go visit the Pantheon and you go eat in the famous Greek restaurant, and if you go play somewhere, you connect with people locally who will advise you and say, okay, if you really want to know our city or our culture, you shouldn't go there, but you go there. And then you'll see the real, for instance, Portugal or France or Chile or whatever.
And do you have a favorite country that you've played in?
No, I don't. It all depends on the audience, and sometimes you have a lovely audience in Belgium, and then you can have a lovely audience in Germany. It depends.
Did you have horrible audiences?
Yes.
What is an horrible
What is
audience?
a horrible audience? An audience that is not interested.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes you have to play somewhere and you feel out of place. Like, okay, I'm here, you're here, but we're not here for the same reason, and it will never work. Luckily, it happens very rarely. It's almost never, but sometimes it happens.
And is there something you created that you're really proud of?
Yeah, I think my till now most prestigious album I made was the one with Brussels Philharmonic Orchestra. It was music of Piazzolla and Richard Galliano, and some of my own compositions as well. Yeah, that was from something really special. But also with my quartet, after playing together for a few years, we really could go up to the next level of musical communication and find ways to play together that was really, by moments, outstanding, I think. Also, the work we did with Alain Platel was amazing, but it was not my accomplishment. I mean, I was just a part of the whole team and his vision and his imagination. But then it's something to be proud of also. And then being able to travel with this dance company for 3 years and see the whole world was something, wow, it's so amazing. I'm really proud that I was part of it. And it formed me as an artist. As a musician.
It's coming back.
What's this with this artist? So maybe to answer again your first question, are you an artist? No, I'm a musician. I think that's the most accurate answer. So it formed me as a musician, but also as a human, which I discovered you cannot separate, because you are what you play, and you play what you are.
And what type of artworks interest you the most?
I think photography is my favorite form of art, because I can really relate to it. I can recognize it. It can really move me. I have a lot of books also from great photographers.
Do you have favorite photographers?
Well, we're lucky to have some great photographers in Belgium. I like Stefan van Vleteren, Johan Jacobs, Karel de Keizer is great. He made a fantastic series about climate change, where the water is changing the environment because of the global warming, and he made a book called Before the Flood. So you can see the landscapes are changing because the water is coming closer to the people. Harry Gruijaert is also a great photographer. And then there's this guy, I'm not sure, I have to look for his name. I don't know it right now.
Eline from the montage, Gwen speaks about the French photographer Robert Doisneau. And as a human being, what is your strength?
Oh, that's difficult to say about yourself. I should ask my wife. What is my strength?
We can ask her tonight.
Yeah.
And I can do a beep and then say the word that she says and do a beep.
Yeah.
Eline from the montage, here is Carla's response to the question.
The unique combination of intelligence, humor, perseverance, and musicality.
Surely you must know a strength.
I think it can be, but maybe I see it completely wrong. It's difficult to analyze. I never analyzed myself.
Now is the time.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk again in 20 years. No, I think I have, I can have, I don't have it always, but I can have a good dose of empathy where I can try to blend into a situation that I know is comfortable for everyone, for myself, but also for the people around me. In music, it's an advantage to have this empathy because you have to accompany a singer. He has a certain energy and you try to follow the flow of this energy. And I think I can feel this, that I have some tentacles that feel this energy, and sometimes I can really connect with somebody then, and it feels like very comfortable to connect with this person. There have been proofs in the past of this connection. People I worked a lot with, and that we don't even have to look at each other to understand each other. And this is some kind of empathy, I think. I think that's a strong side, if I have to define one.
This was an extract from Traumerei, and what a wonderful word. And is there anything you would like to be better at?
Yes.
An example?
I would like to be a better musician. I would like to be a better human. But yeah, it's all a work in progress. So every day you try to do something and get better at it. Everybody wants world peace. I mean, but I can't do anything about this to achieve it. But I can try to be a good person and to be an example for my children. And sometimes I am, sometimes I'm completely not. Because I think sometimes you never grow up. You always stay the child and do stupid things.
Okay.
But that's good also. It's not a bad thing to stay a child and make mistakes and run against the wall at the speed of 200 miles an hour and oh shit, what did I do now? It's so stupid. And it's from those mistakes that you learn, probably.
Is there anything that scares you?
Yes. I'm often scared to be alone.
Oh.
Yeah. I need company. Even I can sit at home and work, then music is my company. So I'm not alone.
Okay.
But for me to sit at home with no music, it's like an loneliness. It makes me sad.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm afraid to be alone.
And who inspires you?
A lot of people. There are a lot of great musicians that inspire me. I have good friends that inspire me. My children inspire me. It's nice to see how there's a next generation coming up. Young people that play the accordion, they inspire me. Somebody who really talks good can inspire me. Yeah, It's literature can inspire me. A great picture can inspire me. Landscapes can inspire me when I travel, and I love to travel by train because then you don't have to drive and you can see landscapes passing. Very concretely, is inspiring to write music. Is to see landscapes. That inspires me immediately. A good meal can inspire me. If it's, it can be simple, it can be complicated. Whatever, a good meal is so inspiring. Even a good chocomousse can be inspiring. A dame blanche. Different cultures inspire me because with my instrument, I'm lucky that accordion is an instrument that comes back in many, many cultures from all over the world, in China to Texas, Hungarian music, Polish music, African music. Everywhere you go, you can find the accordion in the local music. So this forces me also to connect with all these cultures and to taste and search for these cultures I don't know. And that's hugely inspiration because you can take all this influence. For instance, if I play with African musicians, the energy they put into their music, I can use it when I play with a classical music band or with the string quartets. And this thing, I think, can make me unique as a musician. Or not only me, any musician who does this can find his own language. So all these different cultures are hugely inspiring.
It's almost like learning the words to be able to talk and express yourself more and more, right?
Yes.
The more you see, then the more you can kind of explore.
Exactly. And it never stops.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's ongoing. It's always going on. The day it stops, I'll die.
And if you were an animal?
Ooh. I think I would like to be what's it called in English? A black panther. I think it's very elegant. It's very fast. It's strong. But it can also be... you remember Jungle Book?
Tiny bit, yeah.
I think that was Bagheera, one of the...
Ah, yes.
There is a very gentle animal as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he was a panther. Yeah, I think so.
Bagheera. I need to check again. Again, I will beep and look on Wikipedia. Montageline again. Bagheera is indeed a black panther, according to Wikipedia. And do you have a favorite color?
It used to be red, now it's blue.
Okay. When did it change?
A few years ago. Bizarre, eh?
8 years ago, when you changed.
Oh, maybe it was together with this... wow. I don't know when it changed.
And now do you feel like you know yourself very well?
No, I don't think so. I think you never get to know yourself. I think there's very, very much... Now, maybe if you're lucky... You're just one person and who is the same always. But like I said before, it's I have a lot of empathy, so I try to adapt. So maybe it influences also a little bit who I am. And I'm probably not the same person when I'm at home as when I'm working with certain artists or different artists. I don't know.
And if you had the possibility to go back and talk to your 15 years old self, would you say something?
Yeah, I'd probably say on a professional level that I should work harder as a 15-year-old to practice more, to go deeper into matters and to dive more deep into the music, to do more sports, I did not do enough sports in my life. I'm very aware of that. That also the physical part of your life is as important as your mental part, so that you should invest more in it. And for the rest, I think I'm quite happy where I am now. I think it's a blessing, because if you can say that you're for 95% happy, then I think you have a good life.
Good.
I have no complaints.
And any coming project for the future?
Yes, different projects. I'm starting now a dance piece with 2 dancers, 2 accordionists and 2 singers. It's called Amour Aveugle. The first performances will be next year, but we're already preparing it. Then I'll do a theater piece in Brussels. It's called Risa. It's a theater piece with a lot of people with all very different backgrounds. And the lovely thing about this piece was the first rehearsal. So the rehearsals are in Brussels. And we went out of the theater and we walked through the city. It was a silent walk. So we were not allowed to talk, not to each other, not to anyone else, but trying to feel the group, as how the group moves through the city. And then after half an hour, they blindfolded us. And we were divided in couples. And somebody I didn't know, one guy was a dancer. He had to guide me through the city. And I was completely depending on it.
Yeah.
But to depend on somebody you don't know.
Especially because I did this practice in a workshop, in a dance workshop, but we were in nature.
Yeah.
So it was just like in the mountains. But in the city, it must be really scary.
Yeah, it was really... And you really have to let go. And I am kind of a control freak. So it was very difficult for me to accept this. But it was a wonderful exercise. And the thing was that after a while, you felt so connected and like, okay, we are a group. If anyone from outside comes...
It's like a ship.
It's I'll protect everyone in this group.
Wow.
And that's how this production started.
Okay.
So it was really a completely different way that I ever worked. And was this director, he's called Junior Ntombeni. And it's really amazing the way how he works with people. So this group of super interesting people coming together, then most of us don't know each other, and yet you feel already connected before you start creating. That was very special. So I'm very curious about how this is going to result in a piece. We start rehearsing next month and have...
I need to say that we do this recording on the 18th of January.
It will be on tour again in October 2024. And we'll be traveling. I'm not sure where. We don't have any dates yet. But I think we're going to play in Spain and some places in Belgium more, I think. So there will be a tour coming afterwards. Maybe I have to say something still for the future project is that I made a solo recording was last summer and in France in a church in Auvergne. It was a really wonderful place where I recorded a lot of repertoire that I worked on the last 4 years, so during the COVID period. And I really wanted to record it to conclude also this period. So, and this results in 2 CDs or Spotify lists or whatever it's going to be, and will be coming out in June 2024.
Nice.
And then I will also do a theater tour with this the next season, so 24-25, to talk about the origin of the accordion and how it got spread over the whole world. Because it's a lot of times I get the question after a concert, like, oh, we didn't know accordion was used in this or that kind of music. And I think it's nice to tell the story of the accordion and then play the music to illustrate what I'm trying to
That's
talk
nice,
about.
because I feel like it's a bit of a mystical instrument. It's not seen so much, so it's like, woo, what does it do?
Yeah, exactly. And where does it come from? That's really, but that will be for another podcast. We can do that. And I also am going to use images. So we're going to put a huge screen next to me on stage that I can really illustrate and show pictures of where the accordion was born, where it was invented.
Baby
accordion, hello. And then and to illustrate the story as well. So that will be for next season. And then last project I'm preparing already will be in a year, so the beginning of 2025. I'm gonna be playing Bach piano concertos on accordion. So it's original. It was for harpsichord, but then was adapted to piano. But now I adapt it to accordion, and it's lovely music. I'm gonna play it with a string orchestra. So that will be for 2025, but it needs a lot of preparation because it's a lot of music. It's 7 different concertos, which each are about 20 minutes of music. Mm-hmm. So that's quite a lot of music. I am now, I already played one last year, so that's okay. And then I'm now working on the second, so I still have 5 to go. And I only have 1 year time. And in addition to this concerto, in each concerto you have a cadenza, which is a moment that the music stops and the soloist can express himself or improvise a certain part. And after this, it evolves back into where the orchestra comes back with the soloist, and you go to the finish of the end of the piece. So, and all these cadenzas, I'm actually going to write my own cadenzas. Mm-hmm. So don't use the existing versions of it, but improvise and compose my own cadenzas. So that's a huge challenge coming at me.
Nice. So any very last recommendation?
It's important to eat well.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I don't know how you want to share your, do you have a website or?
I have a website. It's www.gwencresens.com. I have Facebook, Instagram.
Everything will be in the notes. Details of the episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you. Another extract from The Maan is verhuisd. If you enjoy this podcast, please give it a 5 stars on your favorite platform. It really supports me, and then I can interview all the artists of the world until I die. Merci!